Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering the movies that we loved from 1935. These are the best movies of all time from 1935. I'm Tony, and you're here at Yesteryear and Today. All right, let's get started. A shot in the dark. The apparent hanging of a suicidal student is revealed to be murder, as he was already dead when the noose was placed around his neck. A Shot in the Dark is a mystery thriller from 1935. It's a very good movie. Check it out. A Night at the Opera featuring the Marx Brothers, one of the best comedies of all time, especially of 1935. A sly business manager and the wacky friends of two opera singers in Italy help them achieve success in America while humiliating their stuffy and snobbish enemies. A Night at the Opera. A Tale of Two Cities, drama, history, and romance. A pair of lookalikes, one a former French aristocrat and the other an alcoholic English lawyer, fall in love with the same woman amidst the turmoil of the French Revolution. Ronald Colman in A Tale of Two Cities. After Office Hours, a comedy, crime, and drama. Hard-hitting news editor Jim Branch falls for high society type Sharon Norwood, but can't get to first base as he continually makes use of her knowledge of the rich and famous to try and solve crimes. After the Thin Man. This is a comedy, crime, and mystery featuring William Powell and Myrna Loy. Private detective Nick Charles and his wealthy wife Nora are back home at last and hoping for a quiet new year when there is a murder. After the Thin Man. Alice Adams, comedy, drama, and romance. A working class girl is thwarted and embarrassed in her attempts to move up socially by her gauche family and unstable father. Alice Adams is a comedy, drama, and romance, a movie that you'll be sure to like. Check it out. Anna Karenina, drama, musical, and romance. The married Anna Karenina falls in love with Count Vronsky despite her husband's refusal to grant a divorce, and both must contend with the social repercussions. This is the drama, music, and romance. Greta Garbo. Next up we have is Barbary Coast, adventure, drama, and romance. Mary Rutledge arrives from the east, finds her fiancé dead, and goes to work at the roulette wheel of Louis Belladonna, a rowdy gambling house in 1850 San Francisco. Boy of the Streets, featuring the legendary Jackie Cooper. I love little Jackie Cooper. Remember him from Our Gang? A cocky young street kid worships his father, a sleazy political operative. Jackie Cougar in Boy of the Streets. The Lives of a Bengal Lancer. 3 British soldiers of the northwest frontier of India struggle against the enemy and themselves. Adventure, drama, and war. The Lives of a Bengal Lancer, featuring the legendary Gary Cooper. The Black Room. This is a horror film from 1935. Ignoring an ancient prophecy, evil brother Gregor seeks to maintain his feudal power on his Tyrolean estate by murdering and impersonating his benevolent younger twin. The Black Room. Border Town, featuring Bette Davis. Crime, drama, and film noir. In Mexico, a former lawyer becomes the invaluable second in command to a casino owner whose wife begins to fall for him. Bette Davis is awesome in Border Town. O'Shaughnessy's Boy, a drama, again featuring a young Jackie Cooper. I love Jackie Cooper. A one-armed circus animal tamer regains his son and the confidence he lost along with his wife. O'Shaughnessy's Boy is a riveting, awesome movie. Check it out. Paradise Canyon is an action western. An undercover agent falls for the government, an undercover agent for the government is sent to round up a gang of counterfeiters operating near the Mexican border, featuring John Wayne and Paradise Canyon. The Bride of Frankenstein, another awesome horror movie, drama, and sci-fi. Mary Shelley reveals the main characters of her novel survived. Dr. Frankenstein, goaded by an even madder scientist, built his monster a mate. This movie is the best. Call of the Wild, featuring a very young Clark Gable. Adventure, drama, and family movie. During the Klondike Gold Rush, a traveler purchases a dog to lead the way towards the treasure, but reconsiders his journey when he finds a jilted married woman. Call of the Wild. On the Avenue, comedy, musical, and romance. A Broadway producer satirizes an important New York family. The family sues, but their daughter falls in love with the producer. On the Avenue is a very good movie. You should check it out. Curly Top, featuring Shirley Temple. You know who? Shirley Temple. Wealthy Edward Morgan becomes charmed with a curly-haired orphan and her pretty older sister Mary, and arranges to adopt both under the alias of Mr. Jones. You know who? Shirley Temple as Curly Top. Shirley Temple was a beast. Charlie Chan in Shanghai. When a prominent official is murdered at a banquet honoring Charlie Chan, the detective and son Lee team up to expose an opium smuggling ring. Crime, drama, and mystery. Charlie Chan in Shanghai. Charlie Chan in Paris. Charlie Chan was everywhere in 1935. Hired to investigate forged bonds, Charlie is thwarted by the murder of his undercover agent, but the arrival of son Lee helps him uncover the true culprits. Here's Charlie Chan in Paris. China Seas. When earthly Dolly Portland is rejected by Captain Gaskell in favor of a socialite, she aids James E. McCartney in league with Malay pirates in his plot to seize Gaskell's ship. Action, adventure, and drama. Clark Gable and Jean Harlow. She married her boss. An efficient secretary at a department store marries her boss, but discovers that taking care of him at home is a lot different than taking care of him at work. Claudette Colbert in this comedy, history, and music film. I said horror. I love it. If you could only cook, comedy and romance film. An executive lets an attractive cook talk him into taking a job as a butler. This movie is a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you could only cook. Crime and Punishment. This is a crime and drama film. Man is hunted by a murder he's committed. Man is haunted by a murder he's committed. This is Crime and Punishment featuring Edward Arnold. Dangerous, drama and romance. An alcoholic actress who is considered a dangerous jinx is rehabilitated, but she then shows that she's as dangerous as ever. Bette Davis and Franchot Tone in Dangerous. An exquisite movie. Dante's Inferno. Jim Carter moves in on the McWade's Carnival concession, which shows scenes from Dante's Inferno. He makes it a going concern, marrying Betty along the way. Dante's Inferno is an awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, released in 1935. David Copperfield, featuring the legendary W.C. Fields. A gentle orphan discovers life and love in an indifferent adult world. Adventure, drama, and family. David Copperfield is truly a classic, one that you and your family would enjoy. The Dawn Rider, featuring John Wayne. Just as John travels to visit his father, he witnesses his death and suffers a gun wound. A beautiful woman is kind enough to help him bring the killers to justice, but jealousy unfolds. The Dawn Rider. Next up we have John Wayne again in The Desert Trail. Rodeo star John Scott and his gambler friend Kansas are wrongly accused of armed robbery. They leave town as fast as they can go to looking for their own suspects in Poker City. The Desert Trail is a fabulous western. The Devil is a Woman, comedy, drama, and romance. A young man is warned by a captain about a temptress. Nonetheless, he finds himself falling in love with her. Marlene Dietrich in The Devil is a Woman. Devil Dogs of the Air, action, drama, and comedy. A talented but brash stunt pilot enters the Marine Corps and becomes more disciplined. Devil Dogs of the Air, featuring legendary Pat O'Brien and James Cagney. I love Pat O'Brien and James Cagney. Enter Madame. Enter Madame. Man marries opera singer, winds up taking back seat to her career. That's not going to go very well. So poor Cary Grant. And Eliza Landy. Comedy, romance, and Enter Madame. Cary Grant was a phenomenal, legendary actor. The Little Colonel, you know who? Shirley Temple. In the post-Civil War South, a darling little girl attempts to restore the peace between her parents and her plantation owner grandfather. This is a comedy, family, and musical film. The Little Colonel. Man on the Flying Trapeze. Hardworking, henpecked Ambrose Wolfinger takes off from work to go to a wrestling match with catastrophic consequences. Man on the Flying Trapeze featuring W.C. Fields. You know who? W.C. Fields. Front Page Woman. A woman reporter tries to prove she's just as good as any man, but runs into trouble along the way. Betty Davis and George Brent in Front Page Woman. This is truly a classic gem. Check it out. Next up we have is G-Man, James Cagney. I love James Cagney. Who doesn't love James Cagney? James Cagney helped jumpstart the gangster genre as the public enemy. Outcries against movies that glorified underworld criminals put Cagney on the side of the law in G-Man. Gold Diggers of 1935. Romantic antics abound among the guests at a luxury hotel, including a stage director, an eccentric millionaire, and the daughter of a financial backer. Gold Diggers of 1935 is a comedy, musical, and drama music. Next up we have is Hands Across the Table. A loafer and manicurist, both planning to marry money, meet and form an uneasy alliance. Hands Across the Table. Carol Lombard. The Healer with Mickey Rooney. This is a drama. A young doctor running a health farm for polio victims is dazzled by a pretty and wealthy society girl, to the detriment of his patients and the woman who really loves him. Mickey Rooney in The Healer. I Found Stella Parrish. A theatrical star abruptly leaves England to escape her secret past, while a newspaper reporter follows her trail to America to get the scoop. I Found Stella Parrish. This is a drama and romance. In Caliente, comedy, musical, and romance. Hard-drinking Larry MacArthur, editor of a sophisticated magazine, is taken to the Agua Caliente resort by his publisher, Harold Brandon, in order to dry out and sober up. In Caliente. The Informer, crime and drama. In 1922, an Irish rebel informs on his friend, then feels doom closing in. The Informer, Victor McLegan. And Heather Angel. Next up we have is The Irish in Us, featuring Pat O'Brien and James Cagney. Those two were a great team together. Check it out. James Cagney and Pat O'Brien, Two brothers, a police officer and a boxing promoter, vie for the affections of a lovely young woman. The Irish in Us. The Last Outpost is a very, very good movie. During World War I, the destinies of British officers Michael Andrews and John Stevenson seem intertwined on the battlefront as much as on a more personal level. Action, adventure, and romance. The Last Outpost. Love in Bloom. A young girl runs away from her carnival family to make it in New York City and becomes involved with a handsome young songwriter. Comedy, music, and romance. Love in Bloom. Next up we have is Mad Love. Horror, romance, and sci-fi. In Paris, a demented surgeon's obsession with a British actress leads him to secretly replace her concert pianist husband's mangled hands with those of a guillotine murderer. So there's going to be some macabre and chopping off people's hands. Mad Love. Next we have Magnificent Obsession. Drama and romance. The life of a spoiled rich Robert Merrick is saved through the use of a hospital store resuscitator. But because the medical device cannot be in two places at once, it results in death. Magnificent Obsession. Mutiny on the Bounty. This is a truly classic. Charles Lawton and Clark Gable. First Mate Fletcher leads a revolt against his sadistic commander, Captain Bligh, in this classic seafaring adventure based on the real-life 1789 Mutiny on the Bounty. Mystery of Edwin Drood. An opium-addicted chorus master develops an obsession for a beautiful young girl and will not stop short of murder in order to save her. Crime, drama, and horror is Mystery of Edwin Drood. Naughty Marietta. In order to avoid a prearranged marriage, a rebellious French princess sheds her identity and escapes to colonial New Orleans, where she finds an unlikely true love. Naughty Marietta. Drama, musical, and romance. A Midsummer's Night Dream. Two couples and a troupe of actors have an encounter with some mischievous fairies in the forest. A Midsummer's Night Dream. Comedy, fantasy, and romance. Check this classic film if you can. No More Ladies. A society girl tries to reform her playboy husband by making him jealous. No More Ladies. Joan Crawford and Robert Montgomery. This film is a classic. No More Ladies. Next up we have is Oil for the Lamps of China. An American working for his oil company in China disregards all but the company's interests. The characters and the institution portrayed in the story are not actual, but the product of fiction. Oil for the Lamps of China. Check it out. Page Miss Glory. Page Miss Glory. A chambermaid impersonates the fictional subject of a composite photo that won a beauty contest, with whom a famed aviator falls in love. So there's going to be some deceit and some fraud in this movie. You can check it out. Page Miss Glory. Party Wire. Story of a small town girl victimized by her gossiping neighbors. So you can tell this movie's going to have a lot of gossip. They'll be trashing her, throwing her under the ringer, under the bus. Party Wire. Drama, musical, and mystery. Next up we have is Peter Ibbetson, a Victorian-era architect commissioned by the Duke of Towers to design his stables, falls in love with the Duchess, Peter Ibbetson, featuring Gary Cooper and Anne Harding. The Phantom Empire, drama, family, and musical. When the ancient continent of Mu sank beneath the ocean, some of its inhabitants survived in the caverns beneath the sea. Cowboy singer Gene Autry stumbles upon the civilization now buried beneath the land. The Phantom Empire. Bonnie Scotland, featuring Laurel and Hardy. Stan and Ollie mistakenly enlist in the army and find themselves posted to the northwest frontier in India on a dangerous mission. You can bet comedy will ensue and then we'll get into shenanigans. Steamboat Round the Bend. A Louisiana conman enters his steamboat into a winner-take-all race with a rival while trying to find a witness to free his nephew, about to be hanged for murder. Steamboat Round the Bend. This is a very good movie, so if you can, check it out. I Live My Life, featuring Joan Crawford. Kay, a bored society girl from New York, takes a trip to Greece. Where does she get the money? Where she meets Terry, an archaeologist. She flirts with him and falls for her, and he falls for her. She heads back to New York, and he follows her. I Live My Life. Public Hero Number 1. A G-Man goes undercover to infiltrate a gang, helping the group's leader escape from prison to gain his trust. Public Hero Number 1, featuring Lionel Barrymore and Jean Arthur. Rainbow Alley. John Martin is a government agent working undercover. Leading citizen Morgan calls in gunman Galt, who blows Martin's cover. Rainbow Valley, featuring John Wayne. This is a classic Western. The Littlest Rebel. Remember the Little Colonel? This is now The Littlest Rebel, featuring you-know-who, Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple's father, a rebel officer, sneaks back to his rundown plantation to see his family and is arrested. This is a comedy, drama, and family, and Shirley Temple steals the show. She always does. Reckless. Wealthy Bob Harrison buys all the seats in the theater to watch Mona Leslie's musical by himself. He loves her. Her agent Ned Riley loves her. Conflict ensues. Reckless, featuring Jean Harlow and William Powell. Roberta. An American jazz man and his buddy woo a Russian princess and a fake countess in Paris. Roberta. Irene Dunn and Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers lead this all-star cast. Roberta. Check out Roberta. Roberta's good. What's up, Roberta? What's up? Rocky Mountain Mystery. The heirs of the dying owner of a valuable radium mine are being murdered as a mining engineer tries to uncover the killer and clear his cousin's name. Rocky Mountain Mystery. The writers back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, the golden era, they were phenomenal writers. The dialogue was exquisite. Ruggles of Red Gap. An English valet brought to the American West assimilates into the American way of life. Ruggles of Red Gap. That is a very good movie. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Comedy, musical, and mystery. Shadows of the Orient. Smuggling Chinese into the U.S. from Mexico in carloads with no regard for human life. Sounds like today, doesn't it? Smugglers resort to any means to accomplish their selfish ends. Shadows of the Orient. Action, crime, and drama. She. A group of explorers search of the legendary Flame of Life, a mysterious force that bestows immortality and vibrant color. She. Check out the movie She. Next up we have So Red the Rose. So Red the Rose. Drama, romance, and war movie. So Red the Rose is King Vidor's quietly affecting Civil War romance starring Margaret Sullivan as a Southern aristocrat, the mistress of a Southern plantation. So check out So Red the Rose. Special Agent, starring Betty Davis and George Brent. Newspaperman Bill Bradford becomes a special agent for the tax service, trying to end the career of racketeer Alexander Karsten. Drama, music, and mystery is Special Agent. Sylvia Scarlett. We love Sylvia Scarlett and Cary Grant. When her father decides to flee to England, young Sylvia Scarlett must become Sylvester Scarlett and protect her father every step of the way with the questionable help of plenty others. So you can say this is the first trans movie of 1935. This movie was trans. Texas Terror. Sheriff John Higgins quits and goes into prospecting after he thinks he has killed his best friend. and shooting it out with robbers. He encounters his dead buddy's daughter, who confronts him. Texas Terror. This is a Western. Next up we have is The Dark Angel. The close relationship between a woman and her two male childhood friends is tested when she accepts a marriage proposal from one of them. Drama and romance. The Dark Angel. Frederick March, Merle Oberon. The Wedding Night featuring Gary Cooper. Because his finances are low and he is seeking background for a new book, author Tony Barat and his wife Dora return to his country home in Connecticut. The Wedding Night featuring Gary Cooper. The Crusades. King Richard and the Third Crusade, 1190 through 1192, are given the DeMille treatment with more spectacle than history. The Crusades. Cecil B. DeMille's classic, The Crusades. The Farmer Takes a Wife. Charming love story set on the Erie Canal in the mid-19th century. A farmer works on the canal to earn money to buy a farm. He meets a cook on a canal boat, but she can't even consider hanging out with him. The Farmer Takes a Wife. The Girl from 10th Avenue. A lawyer impulsively marries a stranger after his fiancée dumps him. So this is a drama, a lot of one-liners, backstabbing. Of course, it features Bette Davis. The Girl from 10th Avenue. The Glass Key. Crime, drama, and film noir of 1935. Ed Beaumont is the personal friend, advisor, and bodyguard to Paul Madvig, the political boss of a large city. When a mysterious murder is committed, the son of Madvig's political opponent is the suspect. The Last Days of Pompeii. In the doomed Roman city, a gentle blacksmith becomes a corrupt gladiator, while his son leans toward Christianity. The Last Days of Pompeii. All-star cast. Next up we have a drama, horror, and mystery, The Phantom Ship. During a horrific storm at sea, the crew realizes that there is a murderer among them who is killing them off one by one. Phantom Ship. This was good. The writing was exquisite in The Phantom Ship. Check it out. The Raven. Dr. Vallon is a brilliant but unstable surgeon with a morbid obsession for instruments of torture. He saves the life of Jean Thatcher, a beautiful young socialite, injured in an automobile accident. This is a crime horror movie, The Raven. Next up we have an action, adventure, and drama, The New Frontier, featuring John Wayne. In 1889, pioneers race ahead of the law to claim free land in Oklahoma, forming wide open towns, and one such citizens elect Milt Dawson to challenge the self-appointed rule of gambler Ace. Action adventure. Thunder Mountain. This is also a Western, featuring George O'Brien. Gold prospector O'Brien stakes a claim but is cheated by a saloon keeper. He plots revenge. Thunder Mountain. This is a good old Western. Next up we have is Top Hat, featuring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Comedy, musical, and romance. An American dancer comes to Britain and falls for a model whom he initially annoyed, but she mistakes him for his goofy producer. Top Hat. The Whole Town's Talking. A meek milquetoast clerk is mistaken for public enemy number one. The notorious killer takes advantage of the situation. Edward G. Robinson stars in The Whole Town's Talking. This is a classic. I love Edward G. Robinson. I love him. Tumbling Tumbleweeds. Drama, music, and western, featuring the King, Gene Autry. After a 5-year absence, Gene returns home to find his father murdered and his boyhood pal accused of the dastardly deed. Tumbling Tumbleweeds. Westward Ho. Drama and western. As a youngster, John Wyatt saw his parents killed and his brother kidnapped. On a wagon train heading west, he meets his brother, who is now a spy for the gang, which originally did the dirty work. Westward Ho! Whipshaw, featuring Myrna Loy, drama and romance. Hoping to nab a gang of jewel thieves, a government agent poses as a crook and travels across the country with a female thief. Whipshaw. Next up we have is Wings in the Dark. In this dedicated pursuit of technology that will aid pilots to safely fly blind during adverse conditions, aerial innovator Ken Gordon is literally blinded in accident. Wings in the Dark is a beautiful love story, adventure, and romance. And lastly, to round up 1935, Werewolf of London. Drama, fantasy, and horror. Horror! After botanist Wilfred Glendon travels to Tibet in search of a rare flower, he returns to a London haunted by murders that can only be the work of bloodthirsty werewolves. Werewolf of London. Those are the films that we love from 1935. These are the best films of 1935. If there are any films, obviously it's not all-inclusive, but if there are any films that you remember from 1935 that were not on this list, by all means, post them on the comments and maybe we can do a video following up on them. And I'd like to know what other films that maybe I missed of 1935 that you enjoyed that maybe we can cover at a future time. Alright, I'm Tony, you're watching Yesteryear, and today, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next video.